Hello, what's good, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Spencer Talks NASCAR. What's up, y'all? I'm Spencer Urquhart here, ready to talk all things NASCAR, specifically the Cup Series. You know, it's been a very fun start to this 2024 season. I feel like I picked a good year to start doing this NASCAR podcast because, man, it has been quite the show. We've got a lot to talk about here today. It's going to be a fun one, y'all. Previewing Las Vegas. NASCAR heading to Las Vegas this weekend. Pennzoil 400. Should be a solid race. But we've also got a review, as we haven't done an episode since last week. We got to review the Atlanta race. How exciting that was. The thrilling three-wide finish. Was it the greatest finish ever? I know a lot of y'all are saying it is. You know, I might be a little jaded being a Kyle Busch fan. He shot the gap, came oh so close to split in the middle and winning that thing, but unfortunately didn't have quite enough. Same with Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch and Ryan Blaney. Heartbroken. Daniel Suarez takes the win. Shout out to the amigo Daniel Suarez. He really killed it there at the end. I noticed him making moves there at the end. I was like, man, that 99 car looks good. I was like, man, because Kyle Busch had the speeding penalty and stuff. He got mired back and he had to work his way back. But I was like, man, Daniel Suarez looks really lethal right now. And they're the two best Chevrolets left in that thing. Hendrick was kind of off at Atlanta. They didn't do as well as they were hoping. Kyle Larson was the best Hendrick car and he ended up crashing out. But yeah, that was a fun race, y'all. I mean, what can I say? I mean, it's speaking the obvious there. If you didn't enjoy that race, you might as well quit watching NASCAR. You know, because if you watch that and didn't enjoy it, shame on you. The sport's probably not for you if that was the case. But really excited to have gotten to witness that. That was, man. I'm still kind of shell shocked by it. Even almost a week later, I'm still just like, come on, man. Kyle Busch, man, he's been a part of some thrilling wins, but also a lot of heartbreak, man. Kyle Busch, for as successful as he's been, yeah, he's got his 2 championships. He's got pretty much every crown jewel but the Daytona 500, but it's just, he's also got so many heartbreaks. But that's just, when you drive for a long time, it's just the nature of the beast. You're going to have your peaks and valleys, but man, Kyle is just, but that's why I love being a fan of his. That's why I've stayed a fan of his now for, this would be year 20. I think year 20 of being a fan of his. I've been a fan of his pretty much since his rookie year. I wasn't really keeping up too close in 2005, but 2006 is when I really got going with it. But yeah, it's just been really thrilling stuff to watch. So yeah, we're going to review Atlanta real quick. The crux of the episode will be, previewing Las Vegas. I know most of y'all are ready to hear about this week's race, the old race. It's old news, but still got to talk about it. I mean, it was so exciting. I thought about going live the night after that night because I was so thrilled. But yeah, it's going to be fun to talk about here. Let's get into it. Let's review Atlanta before we preview Las Vegas. Also got our power rankings and some shakeups in our power rankings. So we're going to go over that here as well. So, all right, y'all, here are our Atlanta top finishers. Daniel Suarez takes the win, like I mentioned, and Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch. Daniel Suarez wins by 3/1000ths of a second. I mean, it's stuff that you only see in movies. Like, everyone's making the Cars meme, and they had the 3-wide finish, basically a dead heat. This is what this was like because, man, I mean, y'all all saw it. I mean, if you haven't, you've been living in a cave or something because, I mean, this thing's been all over social media, and rightfully so. I mean, what a freaking finish. And I mean, so many good cars in this thing. I mean, as we look at the laps led, Austin Cindric was someone that I thought would be dangerous to get the win. But he kind of had a little hiccup there at the end. I believe he had to get out of the gas. He had the lead and had to get out of the gas. And that's when Ryan Blaney took command as the lead Ford. And then Suarez looked like he was in control. And then Kyle Busch was right there too. And then he had his little opportunity, shot the gap, got some help from Bubba Wallace. Shout out to Bubba. His second straight top 5. I believe he's the only driver to have recorded top 5s in both races. And what's just been a crazy start, which makes sense. I mean, when you have 2 drafting tracks to start, it's like, it's going to be chaotic. So, yeah, shout out to Bubba. He's off to a strong start. Ricky Stenhouse, solid top 10. Ross Chastain, he's he's looked really good. He didn't lead any laps, but he was making headway there at the end, just kind of like he did at Daytona. And Michael McDowell, he had a front row motorsports, man. What a day for those guys. Michael McDowell and Todd Gilliland. Excellent. Todd Gilliland, I believe, led the most laps. We're going to finish going down the list here. But Todd Gilliland, someone that has really made his mark to start. Same with McDowell. I mean, both those front row cars aligned with Penske look really fast to start this season. Have kind of taken some of the shine away from RFK Racing. Roush Fenway Keselowski not off to a great start. Chris Buescher, though, a solid top 10. That was much needed after disappointing Daytona 500. His teammate and boss, Keselowski, though, not a good day. Another disaster for him and Joey Logano. Both of those guys normally really good at these drafting tracks. They have not done anything so far as finishes. At least Logano's led laps. Keselowski, I don't know what's been going on with him. He's done nothing but cause wrecks here so far. He has had a brutal start to the season. Ty Gibbs, though, gets a top 10. You know, this kid is, let's just say he's going to be a part of today's best bets, because that's another thing when we preview Las Vegas. I've got a lot of best bets this week. I've been off to a really good start as far as betting this season, and Las Vegas is a track that it's a little tougher to pick long shots, but I've got some guys in mind for that. And to me, Ty Gibbs is someone that the odds makers are kind of sleeping on, being that he hadn't really proven himself at the Cup Series level, but I can see it. He's knocking on the door, y'all. And I mean, I don't like to admit it because I'm a Kyle Busch fan. I'm petty. I want Ty Gibbs to suck, but I got to be honest, man. Ty Gibbs, he's going to be up near the front sooner rather than later, the way it's looking. And Harrison Burton, that was a bad beat. He was my top 10 special, like a long shot to get a top 10, and he damn near got it. Got 11th place. Freaking Ty Gibbs. Ugh, he's already pissing me off this season. Took the top 10 from Harrison Burton in my best bet. Martin Truex, man, he ran a good race. He's someone I wasn't that high on coming into this year, but I mean, he led a few laps, was up front toward the end, kind of got shuffled back, but MTJ, I mean, he's solid. I mean, we know what we're getting from him each and every week. I think there's going to be a lot of different winners this year, which was why my bold take from the preseason was Martin Truex Jr. missing the playoffs. I'm going to stand by it, but you know, it was a hot take, I must admit, because Martin Truex Jr. has been one of the elite drivers in recent seasons. So, and Corey LaJoie, another good run here at the drafting tracks. Kaz Grala sneaks into the top 15, and then Chase Elliott, he's been off to a solid start this year, run up front a lot. He was someone that I was saying is getting slept on by a lot of these power rankings. Are not giving him his due diligence. I mean, I still think Chase Elliott's an elite driver. And finally, a Stewart Haas car, Ryan Preece. My goodness, Stewart Haas Racing. What a mess. They better hope those Honda rumors come true, because it seems like Ford has really just kicked Stewart Haas to the curb. I mean, they just seem like they are way off. Because, I mean, Chase Briscoe, he was running up front some, but didn't really get the result he wanted. I think he got caught up in one of the wrecks. Had a lot of wrecks in this one. William Byron, he got caught up in some stuff, never really got to show what he had. He'd have probably run better. I think he got caught up in that lap 1 wreck. And Hemrick, Hocevar, and Justin Haley round out the top 20. And you can see the rest here. Denny Hamlin had a wild day. He had worked his way back up, but he just had one too many incidents, doing a little too much there. Had the early one with Kyle Busch where I was like, uh-oh, Kyle looked like he kind of caused that, but really it was Hamlin freaking just wasn't clear. And I mean, Kyle held his line, so that definitely wasn't Kyle Busch's fault. Denny Hamlin, kind of like these two right here, him, Keselowski, and I don't know where Logano finished, a third 28th. Those three have just, I mean, yeah, they're really good at these kind of tracks, but a lot of times they end up, they're all or nothing. They either do really well or really bad, and so far they've done really bad. So anyway, yeah, Ty Gilliland, shout out to him, led 58 laps, and you see Hamlin led a few there. Who else led some laps here we can shout out? Yeah, Joey Logano led 27. He was fast again, but got caught up in an incident. Kyle Larson was good, but he got caught up in someone else's mess. I think Logano's mess, if I remember right. Alex Bowman never really got going. He got caught up in the early wreck. Josh Berry crashed out. He was running okay. Tyler Reddick is another one that couldn't ever really get his footing from under him. Same with Christopher Bell. I mean, so Noah Gragson, he was one of my top 10 sleeper picks that crashed out. I mean, it's just insane. Smith looks like a mechanical failure there. So it's brutal, man. I mean, I must admit, I've been pretty fortunate so far with the betting because there's a lot of good cars that have not gotten the results that they deserve so far. But heading to Las Vegas, one of the most fair tracks to drivers, this will be an opportunity for these guys to make up some of the points they lost at these drafting tracks, which, as we all know, can be crapshoots. So that's all I've got on the Atlanta race. Let me know your thoughts. That was quite the show. Really enjoyed that. How could you not? I mean, how could I not? Anyone that loves NASCAR had to have loved that race. It was incredible. But I will say this before I move on from it. I'm not going to go as far as say it was the greatest finish ever. I'm still going to say 2003 Darlington, Kurt Busch, Ricky Craven stuck together, fighting it to the line. I still say that was the greatest finish ever. Because, I mean, they were just beating and banging. You know, this was very similar to that I think it was 2011 Aaron's 499, where Jimmy Johnson edged out Clint Boyer at the line, and Jeff Gordon was in the mix. Carl Edwards and one of the other Roush cars made a strong push. That was, though, if you wanted to say which one was better, I'd probably go Atlanta because that 2-car tandem stuff was kind of tacky back then. That didn't last very long. So I would say Atlanta. I would probably put Atlanta. I mean, you'd have to go back in history. I'd have to go watch a bunch of stuff. But I mean, as far as ones I can think of off the top of my head, I'd probably say the Atlanta one. The only one that tops it, though, for sure, is that 2003 Darlington, because that was just raw racing at one of the old school tracks there in Darlington. That, to me, I don't know if that's going to ever get topped. I mean, that finish is, I'd be surprised if I ever see a finish that I consider that good, that thrilling. I mean, that was, maybe I'm being biased here because it's nostalgic. I remember as a kid, like, I didn't see it live, but I remember like watching this like documentary thing about it, and it was just like, it was stuck in my head. I was like, how did that finish happen? Could it be that? Because I mean, that was one, I think it was 1/1000th or 2/1000ths. It was a little closer than the 3-wide one. And I don't know, it had 3 cars instead of 2. That makes it better. But, which, I mean, hey, if Kyle Busch had won, shoot, I'd probably be saying it was the greatest finish ever. So it's hard to take personal biases out. But I will say, even if he had won, like that Kurt Busch, Ricky Craven, that, again, I don't ever see myself being more wowed by a finish than that one. But we'll see. I mean, hell, maybe Vegas will produce a good finish this week, but Vegas tends to be more of a chalk track that tends to be more lenient to the favorites and stuff. So we'll see how it ends up, though. It could, end up kind of surprising there. So, yeah. All right, let's get to our power rankings here. I don't have them typed out this week, but I'll, make sure to mark the chapters for each driver. So if y'all want to hear about a specific driver I have ranked, feel free to just go to the description and click on their name on whatever minute mark they're at. But anyway, I got a few honorable mentions, though. I got to say, Joey Logano, I bumped out, even though he's been really fast. He's just had bad luck. He'll probably end up back in the top 10 next week if he runs good at Vegas. Martin Truex Jr. is one that's also really close for me. Couldn't quite put him in, but he's right there. I mean, Austin Cindric, also such a good start. Didn't quite put him in, but he's close. Alex Bowman, the Daytona 500 runner-up, he's still kind of right there. And then, I mean, Corey LaJoie is off to a really good start, but again, he's more of a drafting track specialist, so I'm not going to put him in the top 10. He's going to have to show me that he's more than just that. So, all right, y'all, let's get into it here. Number 10, Daniel Suarez. Got to shout him out, man. He won the race, and to me, you got to put him in the top 10 because look how good of a points position he's in now. Unless they have 16 other winners, he's already got his playoff spot locked up, assuming he runs all the rest of the races, which even if he doesn't, if he'd get injured or something, I'm sure he could get the waiver from NASCAR to still be playoff eligible. But anyway, yeah, Daniel Suarez, that was much, much needed because there's all the buzz surrounding. Is he going to keep that seat next season? Trackhouse has a lot of potential replacements going there. Shane Van Gisbergen, shout out to the Aussie. He got a top 3 finish in the Atlanta Xfinity race. He's going to be itching for a cup ride probably as soon as 2025. And then Zane Smith on lease to Spire. Is Trackhouse going to want to get him a cup ride next year? I think Trackhouse is for sure going to need to buy at least one more charter to get at least one of those guys in the seat. And but even if they boot Suarez, they'd still need 2 more charters to get Van Gisbergen and Zane Smith in seats. But Suarez, though, looked really strong. So as of now, I mean, he's got the win. As long as he doesn't just get too comfortable, he should be good, because I think it's a good thing that he's on the hot seat, because if he wasn't, he'd probably be like, oh, I got to win. It'd be easy to kind of just get comfortable. But no, he can't get comfortable. If you're Daniel Suarez, you've got to keep your foot on the gas. To be truly safe, if you're Suarez, you need to win at least 1, maybe 2 more races. And then at that point, it's like, well, then you're safe. But he's got to prove that this just wasn't a fluke, because these drafting tracks tend to go to guys that aren't expected to win. And so Suarez is going to have to show that he can hang at these intermediates, which his first career win, I believe, was at a road course. So the road course super speedways, those are the ones that upset winners tend to happen at. There's usually like Michael McDowell and different guys, AJ Allmendinger, these ones that just kind of, but they're going to have to show. I mean, look at Allmendinger. I mean, he ran very well last year, but still lost his ride. I mean, you're going to have to show that you're more than just that if you want to be insured to keep your Cup Series ride. You've got to be good at all 4 types of tracks: intermediate, short track, super speedways, and road courses. You've got to be good at everything. So, or have money, sponsorships, which Suarez, I might have some self-funding, but I don't think he's not like some of these guys that just bring in all the funding. But anyway, we'll see. Suarez, though, very strong start through 2 races. He's in the top 10 for now. I'm not going to expect him to stay in there, but maybe he'll prove me wrong and win a couple more races. All right, number 9, we've got Chase Elliott, who was number 10 last week. He moved up a spot, and I went on record as saying I felt like he was getting slept on, and he did well at Atlanta. Didn't do quite as well as I was thinking, but he did solid. He was up front. He'll be in the best bets this week. I think he does well at Vegas. He's run well at Vegas before. Needs to show that 9 car is back for real. And I think Vegas is the perfect opportunity for him to do that. So he's run pretty well so far at the plate track. So no reason to knock him out of the top 10. He's shown that he's back for revenge this season. So keeping Chase in that top 10. Hopefully he does good this week so he can stay there, because there's a lot of guys knocking on the door. Last week's number 9 was Tyler Reddick, which he falls out, no real fault of his own, but just hadn't really been getting the results he wanted. Him and Joey Logano are in it last week, and they have since dropped out. Number 8, Bubba Wallace. He's our other one of our new top 10 additions. Him and Daniel Suarez, the new guys in the top 10. But yeah, I had to get Bubba in here. 2 straight top 5s, only driver to have done that so far. He's run really well despite some adversity. I mean, his car was kind of beat up last week, but he kept fighting. He's matured a lot, I'd say, and he kept fighting and secured a top 5 out of what looked like a lost day. So yeah, Bubba Wallace, man, this dude I think he's turned a new leaf. I really do. A lot of times when guys talk like, oh, I've got a new mindset and all this, a lot of times it doesn't end up doing anything. It's usually just the same crap. But Bubba, I say that. I mean, there's guys over the years mindset is very, very important. You've got to have the right mindset if you want to be successful. And it seems like Bubba's really turned that corner as far as having just more of a winning mentality. He used to just be, and he admitted it, he was just way too hard on himself, and he always just would want to beat himself up and never thought he was good enough. But it's his time now. I think he's in good equipment. So I don't think this is just a fluke. I think Bubba's going to be hovering around the top 10 most of this season. Number 7 got Denny Hamlin. Had to drop him down a couple of spots after it's been a kind of a sloppy start to the season, but he's still got the speed. I mean, let's be real. Denny Hamlin, as long as he keeps his car in one piece, he's getting top 5s, top 10s every week, at least a few wins most likely. So yeah, I don't think Denny Hamlin's going anywhere. He's got some age on him now, but he's still one of the best in the business. So unless his slump continues, I'm going to keep him here in this top 10. He'll be in the Vegas best bets. I see him running well this week. He's got a good history at Vegas, and he'll shoot. He might be back in the top 5 next week. Number 6, we've got Ross Chastain. He remains at number 6 after being there last week. And yeah, I mean, he finished 7th at Atlanta. He's steady. And Vegas is a good track for him. He's run well here before. He's led laps. I don't think he's ever won here, though. This might be the week he breaks through. And if he does, I'm sure he'll move into the top 5 of the ranks. But, you know, he's holding steady. Trackhouse Racing, man. Trackhouse, 2311, front row. I mean, there's a lot of teams trending up right now. Trackhouse, so definitely one of those. Chastain and Suarez, man, off to really good starts. And Suarez has a lot more to prove because, I mean, last year Chastain proved he can run good pretty much anywhere. So he's definitely cemented himself in that top 10. Number 5, Christopher Bell. He drops down a spot after last week's DNF. Not really his fault, though. I mean, he ran well at Daytona, so he stays in the top 5. I don't see him falling off any. I mean, he's runs well at intermediates, runs well at short tracks and new road courses. I mean, he's a total package type driver. I mean, Christopher Bell, there's no real flaws in his game other than he's just hasn't won as much probably as he should have, being that he's so talented and such good equipment. But I think the wins are coming. I think this is the year he wins like 3 or 4 races. So could be as soon as this week. So definitely keeping him in the top 5. Number 4, Kyle Busch, y'all. The current points leader. My boy, number 8. He is really off to a strong start. Once again, 2 years in a row off to a strong start. Hopefully this year, though, he can keep that going into the stretch run, because last year the stretch run was kind of a disaster. But this year I think he's just got a little more poise. You know, he's more used to how things are at RCR. I think he'll be a little more patient. He just seems way more mature, so much more wise, and just, I'm like, man, Kyle Busch, he's went from being rowdy to now he's like the Zen master, the freaking Dalai Lama out there. I mean, he's just so like way more chill. Like, he's just so much more chill than he used to be. It's like the amount of personal growth I've seen from him is astronomical. And as I was saying about mindset with Bubba Wallace, I mean, I used to think that all the time with KB. As much as I loved him being a fan and all that, I was like, man, sometimes he just gets in his own way. I was like, if he could just stay out of his own way, he'd be even better. I mean, he's already an elite driver, but if he was in a better mindset, he'd be even better. And I think he's finally in that better mindset. We just got to hope that the cars are there, because it's like, no matter how good of a mindset, how talented you are, if your equipment's not up to standard, it's tough. But it looks like RCR's equipment's strong so far. I mean, he had some rocket ships the past 2 weeks. So the RCR, they're very strong at the drafting tracks, but hopefully the intermediate and short track programs are better. The intermediate program was solid. Kyle Busch ran well at intermediates last year for the most part. It was just short tracks. I don't know what the deal was at short tracks. They were just way off, but we'll see if they can fix that this year. But I mean, he's a points leader now. I mean, he's our biggest mover from last week. He had him 8th. He is now 4th. So I mean, I had him as a championship 4 preseason pick. So it's not like this isn't just recency bias. I genuinely expect Kyle Busch to have a strong season. And it's not just because I'm a fan of it. And anyone love him or hate him, you got to admit Kyle Busch is one of the top drivers to ever strap on a NASCAR helmet. But anyway, number 3, our top 3 stays the same from last week. Number 3 had Kyle Larson. Going to keep him at 3 despite the DNF. I think he's definitely still worthy of a top 3 spot. Same with Ryan Blaney at number 2. Got that second place finish. Almost had the win. If he'd have gotten the win, maybe would have vaulted him to 1, but he stays at 2 because number 1 is our Daytona 500 winner, William Byron. He kind of got his race messed up early on last week, so can't fault him for that, even though he didn't get that strong of a finish. But, I mean, we all know what Willie B can do. He had the most wins last season, championship 4. I mean, he's still elite. So there you go. That's the top 10. You know, I'd say those top 3. I mean, those guys, I mean, they're all so freaking good. But I mean, so are these other guys. I mean, this top 10 is loaded. So we'll see if it gets shaken up at Las Vegas, because Las Vegas usually is the race that's very telling as far as who the championship contenders are. Usually whoever runs well at Vegas tends to be there at the end. This usually tends to be the early tell as far as who the true contenders are. So let's get into the odds here and preview the Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas. All right, so Kyle Larson is a heavy favorite there at plus 450. Wow, that is, yeah, because I mean, nobody else is anywhere close. Willie B and Kyle Busch there at 9-1. I mean, Larson's like freaking 2 times more likely than anyone else, according to this, which I gotta say, I'm not thrilled about that as a bettor, but it's like I feel like you almost have to have him to win as part of your tickets for this week, because it's like, who has a better resume than him in this field? Nobody. I mean, Kyle Larson has owned Las Vegas, and I mean owned Las Vegas Motor Speedway ever since joining Hendrick Motorsports. It is just not even close. I mean, ever since 2021, the past 3 seasons, it's been the Kyle Larson show. It's like him, and I mean, they've had a few guys. I mean, other guys have won here since then, but as far as leading laps and dominating, he is no one that can touch him. So unless he has some sort of bad luck, mechanical failure, tire failure, wrecks out on his own, and I mean, I don't see anyone getting in his way. So yeah, as far as I don't see anyone having a faster car than him this week, but we'll see. I mean, they've got a lot of other talented guys. I mean, William Byron, Kyle Busch, Hendrick, and Chevrolet guys up there. And in our first non-Hendrick or Chevrolet driver, Ryan Blaney at 10-1. Blaney tends to run well at intermediates. And then Ross Chastain, his stock's really gone up. He started off as like 15-1 to win, but now he's among the favorites at 10-1 there. Denny Hamlin in the mix, as well as Christopher Bell, the 2 best Toyotas. I feel like Toyota might be getting a little bit slept on here. You know, a lot of people are all in with Chevy, and rightfully so. I mean, Chevy's got 3 really good teams, a bunch of really good drivers on those teams, but Toyota, man, they're usually really good at intermediates, and I'd say Hamlin and C. Bell at 10-1 could offer value. Joey Logano there at 11-1. I liked him more when him and Chastain were more in the mid range. Now they're both among the favorites. I mean, Logano, I like him this week, though. I think he's going to get a good finish. I maybe prefer him top 3 or top 5 as opposed to outright winning. But, you know, I think he'll be in the mix to do so. Tyler Reddick at 12-1, followed by Martin Truex Jr. at 14-1. A couple of Toyota drivers there that should be in the mix. Mention how I thought Toyota was getting kind of slept on. I think there might be a little value on Truex. Probably not going to bet on him, but he usually runs really well here. 14-1, I think, is a good price. Brad Keselowski also at 14-1. I think he's getting maybe a bit overvalued considering just how bad of a start he's been off to, but he really needs a good run. Maybe top 3 or top 5 would offer value. Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman, 18-1. Bowman's another one that's seen his stock rise a lot. I think he's had a lot of money come in on him because I think people forget how good Alex Bowman is here at Las Vegas. He's a former Vegas winner, won this race in 2022, and has led laps. I mean, he's somebody that I think is getting, well, not anymore. He was getting slept on. He was around the Ty Gibbs, Chris Buescher range, but now at 18-1, I'd say that's about fair. I probably wouldn't bet on him at that price. I'd rather Chase. I think Chase has better chance, but they have the same odds. So to me, Chase offers more value there if you want to take a shot on one of the longer shot Hendrick guys. Bubba at 20-1. Don't see a whole lot of value there, but maybe be intriguing to get top 3 or top 5. Ty Gibbs, I like him this week, especially to finish top 10. He's at even money to finish top 10. I feel like that's a really good value. Top 3, top 5 might be a bit of a stretch for the kid. And to win, I don't see him be breaking through quite yet to win. I think he'll eventually win, but I mean, 25-1 might be worth a long shot play. And then everyone after him just kind of just like, yeah, not really worth betting on. Buescher, maybe, but he hasn't shown enough at intermediate. Suarez, that's free. If he hadn't won last week, he'd be like 55 or 60-1. The long shot I like, though, here, Eric Jones, 55-1. If he was like Suarez's price, I'd probably be like, meh. But Eric Jones, y'all, he has been really good at intermediates throughout his career. He was able to spoil the party at Darlington a while back, won the Southern 500, the night race. And I think he's someone that I think's in position to do well this week. I think he's 2-1 to get a top 10. That might be the better play. But if you're looking to just take a flyer on somebody, I think Eric Jones would be the long shot to mess with, because anyone. I mean, at this place, this is a very chalk racetrack. I'm not going to spend time going over all these long shots. It's not worth your time, y'all. Stuart Haas Racing is so off right now. Do not bet on Briscoe, or I think the odds makers, I don't see any Stuart Haas cars anywhere close. To show you how bad they've been. Yeah, Barry at 130-1. Jeez, man. They had Noah Gregson, no Priest, 200-1. Stuart Haas Racing has gotten so bad that one of their drivers is 200-1 to win a freaking race. That is insane, y'all. Yeah, let's see the rest here. Who's at the bottom? I think JJ Yaley. If you just want to waste $1, you can put $1 on him. Or Kaz Grala at 800-1. I'd probably say Kaz, but no, don't touch any of this, y'all. It's just, no. This isn't Daytona or Atlanta where long shots are going to be a factor. So, anyway, that's that. Top 10. Go over this here. I'm going to go over my best bets now for y'all. My top 10 play. So we got a couple of them for y'all. Ty Gibbs at even money is my best bet for top 10. I think that's a really good value. I was thinking he'd be at other books. He's at minus 130, but here at DraftKings, he's even money. I think that's a good price for Ty Gibbs. Alex Bowman at minus 140. I was able to find him at a little better deal at BetMGM, minus 115. I feel like BetMGM's offering a lot of good prices. DraftKings, past couple weeks, seem to be the place to go, but BetMGM, I maybe should have pulled up their odds, because I was looking through the different books before the show, and BetMGM seemed to have a lot of good prices. Bowman there, minus 115. So if you're on BetMGM, I would go ahead and obviously get minus 115 as opposed to minus 140 is better value. So Bowman and Gibbs are my favorite top 10 plays for this week, because, as you can see here, all the favorites are juiced way too much. I feel like these guys, all these guys are capable. I might as well bet them top 5, top 3, because they're all capable of that. And if they don't finish top 5, top 3, odds are they probably got caught up in some BS and probably aren't going to finish top 10 either. So I am not touching any of that. Kyle, my 500. Come on, man. That's just, if Kyle Larson's going to do well, he's going to finish top 5 or top 3. Like, why would anyone bet on that? That's a terrible price. But anyway, let's see. Our top 5 plays for this week. I had Chase Elliott on there. Where is he to finish top 5? Yeah, plus 230. I like that number. Thought he'd be more like plus 200 or 2-1, but so 2.3-1, I feel like it's a good price for him as opposed to Bowman, because I feel like the Bowman top 10 price is a little better. Elliott top 5 plus 230, I feel is a good value. Also feel like Joey Logano plus 140, pretty good price there to finish top 5, but not compared to BetMGM. At BetMGM, y'all, go get Joey Logano top 5. It is plus 225, over 2-1. So I would not take the plus 140 here at DraftKings for Joey Logano top 5. Go to BetMGM plus 225. So Logano and Elliott, live plays to finish top 5 this week. Let's see what else we got. Top 3, had a couple of those for y'all as well. Denny Hamlin plus 300, 3-1. Feel like he's a good play to finish top 3. Denny, I think, could very well win this thing, but at the very least, I think he'll finish top 3. I think he's in good position this week. And that he really needs a good run, kind of like the Logano thing. They both really need good runs. So I think Hamlin is a strong bet to, even if he doesn't win, I think he'll get a top 3. My pick to win, I'm just going to go chalk, y'all. Kyle Larson. I got to do it because he's just been, the numbers show that no other driver is anywhere close to him here at Las Vegas. I can't ignore the data. I mean, I hate to just be boring and pick the favorite, but I have to in this instance. I normally don't. I normally like to go bold. I mean, the past 2 weeks, I mean, I picked Byron as the outright winner. He wasn't the favorite. And then last week I picked Kyle Busch, and he damn near won, even though he wasn't the favorite. And I had said as a backup plan, Ryan Blaney. So I almost nailed the outright winner 2 weeks in a row. But I think this week I'm going to play it safe with Larson. I think 450 is somewhat of a value. I mean, it's not great, but it's not a bad price either. I'd say if it was like at 4-1, I was kind of like, it's not that great. I might just put like 1 unit on that. But if it was 450, I'd probably put 2 units on it. I feel comfortable enough to do that. If it was plus 350, 3.5-1, I'd probably just say don't bet it. But as long as it stays here, or if it goes to 5-1, shoot, I might double down at that point. I put 2 at 4.5-1. And if it goes to 5-1, I'll lay 2 more units on that. Because I think Kyle Larson wins this race. I don't see who else is going to unless he has issues. So that's my take on that. The Pennzoil 400 at Las Vegas. Gonna be a fun show to see who does well this week at Vegas. So, yeah, I think that's going to do it for this one, y'all. Had a lot of fun. Appreciate everyone tuning in here on Spencer Talks NASCAR. Been a really good start with betting and just talking with y'all. It's been really fun. We're going to have some more YouTube shorts up. Going to go back and watch the show and cut the clips. Had a lot of feedback last week, especially about the big one take about the penalties thing. I had a couple of y'all agree with me, a couple of y'all disagree, but hey, I mean, that's what the debate's what it's all about. Not everyone's going to agree with you, especially when you have a hot take. And I did have a hot take about that. This week had the kind of hot take, at the finish. A lot of people are wanting to crown it as the greatest ever, but can't sleep on 2003 Darlington, y'all. That thing was really, really close. But yeah, anyway, I think that's going to do it for this week's episode, y'all. Appreciate y'all once again. Enjoy the race Sunday. Hopefully it's a good one. It's going to be tough to live up to the hype after the last 2 weeks, but I like some more spread out racing. It'll be refreshing to see things more spread out, more orderly, because these first 2 weeks are just chaos, man. In the clash, I mean, we need some order, damn it. So I think this week will fill that void for us diehard NASCAR fans. So with that being said, enjoy it, and we'll be back next week. This is Spencer Urquhart on Spencer Talks NASCAR. Peace out, y'all.